Hello, good morning, good afternoon, evening, whoever you are, wherever you are, welcome to Robboland's vids. My name is Rob Wheatley and this is the Danelectro Longhorn Baritone guitar. Bong! And I'm going to tell you about it and what I think of it, and at the end of it I'm going to play some bits and pieces. So strap in, strap on, whatever floats your boat, and let's get on with it, shall we? Excellent. Right. First things first, what is a baritone guitar? Well, this is one of them. It's basically a low-tuned guitar. And in order to tune a guitar lower so the strings don't go all floppy like that, you need to have an extended scale length. The scale length on this is 29 3/4 inches, which is a whole 5 inches longer than a Gibson Les Paul or thereabouts. So it's a pretty long old beast. The Longhorn design, if you imagine that would be a Stratocaster with a little tiny cutaway, it's just like a normal sized guitar body, but with massive great cutaways. All right, which gives you loads of access to all these frets down here, all the dusty ones that we don't normally go near. This is a 2-octave fretboard, i.e. 24 frets. It's finished in this lovely, I don't know what that is it ebony? Ebony. If you don't know about Danelectros, they're very strange. It's basically a plywood frame, I think, or is it pine? It's probably whatever's cheaper. It's basically hollow, and on the top and the back are just bits of what they call masonite, but it's hardboard, otherwise known as a 1970s kitchen cabinet door. You know, it's just cheap materials. It looks really funky. I think this is called the Silver Burst version. It has 2 of these lipstick pickups, 2 of these groovy looking, I will get to that in a bit, concentric volume and tone knobs, 1 for each pickup, groovy looking. The old Coke bottle headstock, they refer to that as, and in typical Danelectro fashion, you know, let's just screw the scratch plate and make a transparent scratch plate so it's almost invisible to everybody, but then just screw it on the front with a couple of bloody big old round head Phillips screws, because we're Danelectro and we don't care. Let's carry that theme onto the back of the guitar as well, shall we? Oh, look how the neck's put on, and then the pickup's just more of these, and then just an old bit of metal ripped off some wing mirror from some car somewhere, or some vanity mirror, and it's all just bolted together willy-nilly. Oh, the YouTube algorithm probably prevent me from saying that, so let's just say nilly. It's got an aluminium nut, which is, who knows? But it's there, and so good on it. And this version has a adjustable bridge. It doesn't have some of the older versions, some of the older Danelectros have a rosewood bridge and an aluminium nut, because Danelectro. And this one's got a adjustable bridge, height adjustable and intonationable and all that sort of business with all these screws. It's incredibly light. It weighs that much. I can lift it, and look at my arms. So if I can lift it, you can too. Hey, so how does a baritone guitar work? How is it tuned, Robbo? How do we play one? Well, I thought you'd ask me that, so luckily I have my friend here, Mr. Capo. The easiest way to explain it is that if I stick a capo on the 5th fret of this here guitar and do this, do you recognise that tune? You should do, because that's basically standard tuning. All right, so if I play there, an E minor shape, I get an E minor. However, if I take the capo off and play that E minor shape down there, it becomes a B minor, because the strings are tuned B, E, A, D, F sharp, B. So it's like having a normal guitar, ripping the top string off, moving all the other ones that way, and then sticking an extra low B on. What it does mean is that all of your chord shapes and everything are transferable. However, the names of the chords have changed, so it involves some mental gymnastics if you're trying to use one of these things. So for example, if I play an E minor shape, what I'm actually playing is a B minor. If I play a G major shape, what I'm actually playing is a D major. If I play a C7, what I'm actually playing is a G7. And if I play a D minor 7, then I'm sure we all know what that is. There's no need for me to tell you that, is there? You're already way ahead of me on that one, so good. Over here in the corner is Dave McCallum, the Invisible Pineapple. He's the head of security and he's looking after the drinks. Today's drink is rhubarb and ginger presse, which tastes neither like rhubarb, ginger or presses, which is great. So cheers. Slurp. Now, why on earth would you buy a thing like that, Robbo? It's a good question, and I'm about to answer it right now. So let's just turn that off to stop that buzzing at me, and turn it up so I can get some volume back in here. Okay, why would I buy a thing like this? Well, back about 3 million years ago, I was recording an album with my best mate in the world, Blaze, and as we were recording it, he wrote all the stuff and played all the rhythm guitars and did some of the vocals, and my job was to do all the other bits, so all the other instruments, bass, percussion, drum programming, synths, all of that. And the only bass guitars I had is a electroacoustic bass, which is great for some stuff, but you know, if you're doing sort of poppy stuff, you want an electric bass. And the other bass I've got is a dirty great Squire HM heavy metal 5-string bass. And because I'm not really a bass player at all, I know I'm a guitar player who plays bass when, you know, they really have to. I found that quite challenging. And several times during the recording there, I said, oh, for God's sake, I think I'm just going to go out and buy myself a really dirt cheap 4-string bass, maybe a little Peavey or a Yamaha, just something that's going to do the job. And I didn't, because I forgot. Anyway, fast forward to about 3.5 million years ago, which was my 50th birthday, and Blaze turned up, and he and his wife, Claire, bought me this for my birthday, which is the Danelectro Longhorn bass, which is an awesome piece of kit. If you've ever heard the song Radar Love by Golden Earring, the bass at the beginning of that is played on one of these. So it sounds exactly like a bass. It's constructed exactly the same, apart from the rosewood bridge and the thing. And interestingly, this is a short scale bass with 2 octaves, and you can diddly diddly all the way up. The scale length on this is 29 3/4 inches, which makes it a short scale bass. The scale length on the baritone guitar is 29 3/4 inches, which makes it a long scale guitar. I know, the mystery of science. It's incredible, isn't it? Who knows how it happens? So, how did I end up with a baritone guitar? Well, it's a story that involves a glass, or maybe a bottle, or probably a glass bottle of red wine, a Saturday evening, and a computer with eBay on the front of it. And I'm sitting there going, I wonder what the cheapest Danelectro is with one of these. And if you see here, I'm pointing at the truss rod cover, because here's the thing: if you're ever going to buy a second-hand Danelectro, you over there, not Dave, a lot of the older models of Danelectros don't have truss rod covers. And what that means is, if you want to adjust the truss rod, like what I had to on this bass the other week, you have to get in there, unbolt the neck, take it off, give it your best guess as how much you want relief in it, and then stick it all back together, by which point you've put stress on these strings, you put it back together, you break a string, and you've got to buy a whole new set of bass strings. So that's cost me 20 quid just to adjust the truss rod, like that much. Lovely. So, knowing this might be an issue, and knowing how much I hate taking necks off guitars, that was my only criteria. That night, with the red wine, and the moonlight, and the stars in my eyes, and the eBay at the end of my fingertips, I said, what's the cheapest Danelectro that I can get on eBay that has a truss rod cover, and therefore I don't have to take the frickin' neck off in order to adjust it. I tap, 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 I had a look through. Gore blimey governor, it was this one. This was brand new, but it had an open box. So someone had opened it and gone, blimey, what on earth is that, and shut the box back up and then sold it. And I bought it, so when I got it, it was absolutely brand new condition. It hadn't been, you could tell, not even, nothing, no scratches on the scratch plate, nothing. Absolutely perfect condition. I got a little bit of money off, and I ended up with this really weird guitar, a baritone, which, I think we've all thought, well, wouldn't it be nice to have a baritone guitar? And maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I'm still undecided on that, and that's part of the reason why I haven't done this review. Despite the fact I've had this guitar since April last year. I've had it like 14 or 15 months, and I haven't done the review because I can't decide what I think of it. So I'm going to give you the facts, then I'm going to give you my stupid opinion. But bear in mind, 2 days ago, or 3 days ago, I made a video saying I was going to give this guitar a real roasting. It wasn't going to be a glowing review. And then I played it yesterday because I was going to get some sound samples for the video. Got incredibly frustrated, mainly because of my own stupid brain and my terrible eyesight and my stupid fingers. And decided before I went to bed that my review was going to be, this is a baritone guitar, I'm selling it. Thanks for watching. And then today I've gone out, come back, had a go on it, and I actually quite like it again. I have a note from my doctor. That's all right. So there you go. Let's talk about the good, the bad and the ugly of this guitar. First of all, the pros. I mean, look at it. Let's talk about the cons. Well, look at it. This would be what we call in the UK a Marmite guitar. For those who don't know, Marmite is a spread you put on toast, and it's made out of a cross between yeast extract and I think frog's excrement. And it's lovely. I really like it. But lots of people hate it. And Marmite, many years ago, realised this and launched this brilliant advertising campaign, which meant, you know, Marmite, you either love it or you hate it. And it had people running, screaming from Marmite on toast. So in the UK, we now refer to things as being Marmite objects. If half the people, you know, you can't sit on the fence with something like this, you know, you like it or you hate it, you love it or you hate it. You don't just go, oh yeah, I mean, it's just one of those, isn't it? So it's a Marmite guitar. It's very practical. Diddly 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 because of all that. So obviously the looks and the styling, incredibly quirky. The tuners are fine, tuners work fine. It's got an aluminium nut, which is fine, apart from the fact that I wanted to put slightly heavier strings on to increase the tension, and I decided not to in case it meant that I had to recut the nut, which is fine if it's bone, plastic, Graphtec or whatever, but if it's aluminium, then I'm going to need a smelting works and an angle grinder and all sorts of things and some goggles and a helmet. I just couldn't be asked. So I've got a brand new set of identical light strings to put on it, and they're okay, but the string tension does cause me a few issues just because of the style that I play and the fact that my brain doesn't work properly. And anything that throws me slightly off course throws me massively off course. And that was one of the reasons I was thinking of selling it. It's just because my brain has difficulty dealing with the concept, the whole concept of a baritone guitar. Because I'm playing down here and I'm expecting to hear an E minor, and suddenly I hear that instead, and it's like my brain does not compute. Anyway, tuners work fine, nuts fine, easy to tune, all that. Bridge seems stable enough. The pickups, I really, really like these lipstick pickups. And let's get to the bit that I really don't like, and it's these. It's the volume and tone pots, right? They look fantastic, right? They look great. There's no switch. So if you want to turn, if you have this one up and that one down, and then you want to change and you want to go from front to back pickup, you've got to go, oh, got to turn that down, and then, oh, got to turn that one up. And God help you if you want to adjust the tone, because you have to then grab hold of that and then move the tone, because as you'll see, there is a little, is there? There is. I think that's completely the wrong way. What have I done with that? There you go. There's a little ball bit, there's a little, you probably can't even see it, but there's a little, there you go, a little ball bearing thing that sticks out and keeps this tone knob in place, which is great, unless you actually want to then adjust the tone, in which case you have to put your finger on there and then move this with your thumb or somehow, or even take both hands off and then grab that with that and then move that around, which is not exactly convenient, because if I then wanted to switch to the back pickup and I went, okay, let's turn this pickup up and that one down, I've got to do all this, and it's just like, why, what, I don't even know where I am now, what the fuck is going on? Good. So, which is a massive faff. However, Danelectro thought of that and they've got you covered, and the way they've done that is by putting the worst pots I've ever used on any guitar underneath these really groovy looking things. So let's show you how these pots work, shall we? Let's have a listen. So here we go. Let's have the rear pickup on, and here's my tone. So so if I just turn the tone, then all the volume is going to go as well, you see. So I've got to hold it there and move that so it jumps off of this little ball bearing thing. And so here's the tone. So here's full tone. Everything, 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 everything. Oh, now someone's put a pillow over my face. Oh, and now nothing, 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 and there it is, all the tone again. So basically, 10 to 2 is full tone, and then if you go below 2 to 1, there is no tone whatsoever. And the same thing works for the volume. So these, if you do buy one of these, do yourself a favour, spend an extra 15-20 quid, buy yourself some actually decent concentric pots and replace them. While you're there, get someone to drill a hole in there and put a 3-way switch in. I mean, it looks quirky, it looks great, which is fantastic, but form should always follow function. And in this case, it really doesn't. This makes me bloody furious, to be honest with you. I mean, they do a bass version. They also do a guitar version of this, which does have a 3-way switch. And actually, the bass, being a slightly older model, the tone pots and volume pots actually work on that, and so you can use them to balance these pickups out. Talking of the pickups, they're wired in series. So if you have the front pickup on full, it's that loud, but if you then kick in the rear pickup, it just adds it to the volume. Because Danelectro, so that's great as well. So yeah, the pots are diabolical, which if this was a 79 quid Amazon cheapie, you know, one of those crap guitars where you buy the guitar and you get a free guitar stand and a case and a tuner and some picks and a strap, and you just basically throw the guitar in the bin and just sell the rest on eBay, then you would expect pots of this quality to be on there. However, this is not a 79 quid device. We'll play a game. Have a guess right now without looking how much you think these guitars retail for. Around 600. It doesn't matter if it's pounds, euros, dollars. These are around 600. You know, and for that they put the shittiest pots on known to man. Mr. Dan, Mr. Electro, you should be fricking ashamed of yourselves, and I hope you don't get anything you want for Christmas. All right, you've been told, you've been served. It's completely unacceptable. All right, I'm trying not to swear now, but it's completely unacceptable. All right, what would it cost them to chuck something that actually bloody well worked on it? I swore then. They're already charging far too much for this guitar, so adding another tenner on top isn't really going to make a lot of difference, is it? Because I think if people want them, they buy them, because Danelectro. But that is just... makes me very angry. Anyway, that's pretty much the review. I've gone 17 minutes. Okay, let's... The problems I said I had in the previous video with this is basically my brain coping with a baritone guitar. When I play normal guitars, I've been doing it so long that it's just a flow that just happens, and I don't really have to think. You know, if I'm improvising, I get an idea in my head, and by the time it's gone from the back to the front of my brain, it's come out my fingers and I'm hearing it. With this, I'm having to sort of second guess quite a bit. And obviously with the extra fret sizes, it's a little bit of a stretch, and it's just sort of interrupting that flow a bit. So when I play this, there's a mixture of pleasure and confusion and frustration, often in equal measures, which is not ideal. And then if I even go near these pots, then it spills over into more frustration and confusion. And this guitar's come pretty close to being smashed into smithereens and thrown into the river. Luckily I live 20 seconds away from the river, so it's actually quite convenient. Sensible policies for a happier Britain, eh? So there you go, this is the Danelectro Longhorn guitar. The neck on it, I have to tell you about the neck, because there's another bit of a weird one on this. The neck is very, very, very shallow, the carve on it, like very, very shallow. I have stupid hands, they're about 30 foot wide, and each of my fingers is over 60 foot long. So it's a bit, you know, look, I mean, that's, you know, this is a 29 3/4 inch scale length. 2, 3, so I've got about a 10-inch handspan or so, right? So it's ridiculous. So it's not the most comfortable one to use, and because it's so shallow and it's a very long neck, this is actually quite susceptible. It's extremely susceptible to changes in humidity. I'm really pleased that I bought one with a truss rod adjuster up here, and if you're ever thinking of getting one of these, please get one with that, because otherwise you're going to be taking this neck off and replacing and putting it back on once or twice a month, you know. Humidity changes, you know, 2 drops of rain, oh god, you've got to adjust it again. You know, a seagull flies past about a mile away and breaks wind, you know, oh, let's increase the humidity, have to adjust the truss rod. A baby over the other side of the river, like 3 miles away, suddenly starts crying, increasing humidity, get the bloody Allen key out and do it again. It's not the end of the world, and I'm quite used to it, you know, literally quarter of a turn each way, but this guitar is constantly moving, whether it's the length of the neck, the thing, I can't stop now, it's Tourette's, or whether they've just haven't used extremely high quality materials. What, Danelectro not using high quality materials? How dare you, Robbo? Sorry. So there we go. That's it. Now I'm going to attempt to do. So there we go. I just said that, didn't I? So we're going to do some sound with it. I'm not going to do a looper jam. I've got this plugged into the computer, and I'm just going to go and play some stuff, and we're going to see how that goes. So let's get on to that. And once that's done, the video will end, and you can go your own way, live your life. And if you live local to me, you might end up seeing this on Facebook Marketplace. Or if you live near eBay, you might see it on eBay in a month's time. Who knows? It depends which side of the bed I get out of. If I get out the wrong side of the bed, basically I slam into a wall and break my nose and all sorts of problems. So there's that. Excellent. Have a good day. Here's some noise. Take it easy. I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.